Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Lewis Speaks 2022, and today I want to talk to you all about a topic that's really not safe for work. So, if you're at your jobs watching this, definitely click off and maybe watch it on your lunch break outside. Content warning: this is adult material, so viewer discretion is advised. The topic is emotional bottoming. What is emotional bottoming? Well, first we got to break down the term. What is a bottom? In the gay community, a bottom is the one who is oftentimes penetrated in the relationship. Typically, the bottom can be submissive, play the submissive role, but that's definitely not a hard and fast rule because there's some power bottoms, which are bottoms that are more aggressive. But typically, the bottom is the more submissive partner, the partner that is the one getting penetrated. Now, in a relationship, typically they're penetrated by what is called a top. Um, there are men who are really not gay, but they classify themselves, if they had to classify themselves, as emotional bottoms. And what does that mean? Is that they'll bottom in a relationship because of their emotions and what that does. You know, bottoming is not just about being penetrated. There's also a very spiritual component to it. I know that sounds strange, but there is. And I'll explain that a little later. Um, Bottoming in and of itself hurts. It is a painful experience your first time. For some, not for all. Um, Typically, there are men who identify as straight men who occasionally bottom or require their women to maybe put a finger in their behind or simulate their prostate because that's where their prostate is located, near their anus. And so somehow that simulation does feel good, you know, and can lead to an ejaculation. Now with emotional bottoming, a lot of men definitely they want to feel closer. Typically, men who are emotional bottoms are extremely lonely, and bottoming makes them feel closer to someone. You know, they're looking for that tender touch. They're looking for that masculine feeling of safety. You know, I have a theory that in a way they're looking for God. You know, they're looking for a close relationship with God. And I hope that this doesn't sound sacrilegious because that's not my intention to pervert spirituality at all. But I really am trying to delve into the psychology of bottoming. You know, many men bottom because they're lonely. They want to feel that closeness, that connection with another person, with another man, especially with another man, because men are created in God's image. And I think a lot of times people are searching for a way back to God. And sometimes they don't always do this in the most appropriate ways. But I think that they want that closeness. Many men are lonely. I'm going to keep it 100. Many men are lonely, especially in 2022. You know, they recently had an article published by Psychology Today where they're saying that men are single. There's a lot of single men out here and they're lonely. I work across the street from a city mission where a lot of men are homeless. They stand outside. I rarely see women out there, you know, and they have a part for women there too. But I rarely see women. I see more men than I do women. And there's just like this high percentage of men that are alone. And a lot of times it's because of their failure to communicate, the way society has socialized us as men to be very stoic and unemotional and just not in tune with our feelings. You know, society in a way has disconnected us from ourselves. And I think many of us are learning to come back to ourselves. But I think also we're craving that connection, that vulnerability, that tenderness that comes with human relationships. And so many men who even identify as quote unquote gay, they're not really gay. They just want to feel the tender touch and tender expression and tender warmth and connection with another man. I realize that with men, it's always about competition. Who got the bigger penis? Who got the bigger this? who's stronger, who's more masculine. It's always about being in competition. And sometimes you just want to lay down your sword and shield and you just want to say, look, I'm tired of trying to compete all the time. Why I gotta feel like the Hunger Games? Why does it have to feel like I'm in ancient Rome and like some gladiator type Colosseum situation? Why does it feel like, why? Why do we have to do that as men? You know, I think our job is to really connect with one another on a human level. We are humans with emotions. We feel sad, we feel happy, we feel the gamut and the full range of emotion. But as a man, all we are allowed to feel really is anger. We're not allowed to cry. We're just allowed to feel anger and rage and express that in violent ways in order to appear like we're together. But a lot of men are breaking under the weight of this belief. And they want to say that this is patriarchy. But a lot of times, I got to be honest, ladies, you uphold patriarchy too. You know, your uncles acted a certain way. Now, any man who doesn't act that way, he's labeled a bitch, weak, a crybaby. You know, so a lot of times women are perpetuating the patriarchy too. Y'all got to take ownership of that as well. You know, I think we as men have got to take most of the burden and most of the ownership because we at the same time have set the tone. We have made it so that we cannot express our emotions without being made to feel weak or powerless or just inept, you know? And that's not who we are. We are emotional beings. We are strong, but we're also sometimes weak. And we need to own the full gamut of our experience, and we have not done so. And so I realize that emotional bottoming has come into play with a lot of men because, especially gay men, because they want to feel close to men. They rather suffer a man than say, I'm lonely. I need someone. I miss you. I love you. They rather suffer a man and suffer the penetration, you know, just rather than, you know, just communicate those emotions. And to be honest, a lot of times, you know, being gay is a safe way to express your emotions. It's ironic, really, you know, but it's a way for you to actually vent those feelings that you have been shamed for all your life. It becomes a safe space, although it's weird. It really is so bizarre how danger, like a danger zone, can be a safe space. Because to be honest, some aspects of the life is dangerous. But at the same time, it becomes a safe space when you are so hungry to vent those feelings, the vulnerability. When you are hungry to vent your vulnerability, being gay becomes a safe space for you. It becomes a space where you can actually be free to emote. I can emote here, and it's okay. You know, it's okay. And so a lot of men are emotional bottoms. They will bottom in a relationship. They will tolerate the penetration and enjoy the penetrations at times because it allows for a closeness and the development of something more intimate. Because men want intimacy. They want intimacy too. They want someone to see into them. But they don't say it readily out. They don't outwardly say it because our society doesn't permit us. Our own egos, we're imprisoned by our own egos. We can't admit that because to admit that means we're weak. All these messages, these tapes that play out in our heads, you know, we have got these faulty messages in our minds about what being a real man is. And I think, to be honest, we need to reconfigure and redefine what it means to be a real man. Because I think that we are definitely just sexualizing our emotions. A lot of times we're definitely of this hypersexual. Is it because we're hypersexual? Are we really these sexual beings? Or is it because we haven't been allowed to feel certain things, so we then transferred all that into our sexuality where it's safe? Well, if I'm in the bed and I'm a sexual beast, well, then I can cry. How many men are crying into a woman's body as we speak? How many men are crying into another man's body as we speak, calling that lust or calling that good sex, when really it's trauma? They say that the best lovers are oftentimes psychos, you know? Why is that? Why is that? Do they have a lot of unexpressed trauma that they feel is safe to express within the confines of sex? Do people use sex as a tool to really, really get their other needs met? By saying that, yes, I need you. Yes, I want you. Please come to me now. I'm lonely right now. Saying that, oh, you look pathetic. You look weak. You look this. So they don't say that. Instead, they say, well, I got this and I could do that and I could do this in the bed and I can make your toes curl and I can do this and I can do this. The list goes on of what they can do to you in bed. Okay, thanks. But can you love me? Can you hold me? Can you be honest with me? Can you? Or do you have to only do that within the confines of a sexual context? You know, it begs the question. It definitely begs the question. But I put this video out there because I think it needs to be said. A lot of men, they're not gay. A lot of them are emotional bottoms. Just a lot of men will only bottom when they just feel lonely. When they're feeling that way, when they're feeling emotional. They won't come out and say, I'm feeling XYZ. They won't identify a feeling. Instead, they'll just bend over. They'll just bend over. It's easier, I guess, to bend over than it's to say I'm sad, or I'm angry, or I'm. That's interesting. But I thought this needs to be shared. Definitely put some comments. I definitely want to hear what you guys have to say about that, as well as some feedback, So, hope everybody is having a wonderful 2022. And I wish you all a wonderful remaining of the year. Peace.